I believe we are in a buyer's market for real estate. In this episode with Casey from Brick by Brick, we're going to break down why I believe that. We are going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about the consumer. We're going to talk about rates. And finally, we will get to the opportunity that we all have. Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Michael. Thanks for having me back on today. I'm real excited about today's call.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, congratulations. You just closed on your next deal. You are
Yep.
executing during a buyer's market. You found a motivated seller with a aged listing. You got a significant discount, all kinds of credits, this, that, and the other. That is exactly what I want people to realize we have today as a buyer's market. So real quick, summarize all the things you were able to negotiate because it was a buyer's market.
Sure. So first of all, this was in a new zip code to me. So I had to do extra research on my buy box that was brought to me by my real estate agent. And I said, I would love the area, but I haven't done a lot of research in it. This sounds like it could be a good deal. So let me check it out. So I checked it out. We got the deal closed. So this was the deal that we got. The property was listed for about $240,000 in a really good part of town. And I always preach, don't buy anything over 200. It won't cash flow. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to cash flow at a 240 price, especially with the work that it needed. So I let it sit, looked at it for a little while, and they dropped the price significantly. And I said, okay, now is my time. I had my agent call. They've been on the market for a few weeks already, 3 weeks, I think. I wasn't quite a month, but it was 3 weeks. And they had just done a price reduction. And I said, maybe they'll get some interest. I still thought it was overpriced. He called. They still had no offers in. But of course, there's some coming soon. So hurry and
Of
get
course,
yours
of
in, right?
course.
Yeah, of
So
course. There
just
was
just so
nothing
we
coming.
just so we put numbers on this, the significant price drop, are we talking 10% like 240 to 220 or what are we talking?
Yes. Yes. I think it
Okay.
was like 219. They dropped it to 219 from 240, something like
Okay.
that, which was a lot.
That
It's a cheap house,
yeah,
they dropped it a lot. So
that's
I
10%.
said, all right, yeah, now is the time for us to make our offer. So we offered, I think, because there was so much negotiating. We went from 219. I think I offered 204, something like that. I offered
Okay.
204 and I asked for 2% closing costs.
Okay.
Um, and I
So
asked for
that brings
2%.
you to a net of 196.
Yeah. So now I'm getting
Okay.
closer to my under 200 that I
Yeah.
know that I'm going to need to cash flow. And I know this house is going to need some work. It was fine. They were living in there, but the guy was a DIYer, and didn't do a good job. So all need to
Mhm.
be redone. So they accepted. And I said, normally I don't do home inspections anymore. Blake
Mhm.
and I are good enough. I've seen so many houses. I'm not going to spend my money on a home inspection unless I know there's something, a safety reason wrong,
Right.
a safety issue. And I know I can use that report as leverage to get more money off from the seller than what the cost of the inspection is.
Mhm.
So I paid for the home inspection. It was like $325. I knew that the breaker box was old. They hadn't mentioned that and needed to be redone. And the water heater had an issue. There was no drain to the
Oh,
exterior. There was no an
wow.
overflow pan. It was in the middle of the house, and we're gonna have to figure this out. So this was a big deal. So I said I want 201, and I want you to fix a list at a couple things. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to go down even more after they've already
Right.
dropped the price, and they've gone down $40,000 already on this house.
Right.
Um, but I knew that the sellers were in contract on another property. I knew that they already from the beginning wanted a specific closing day. So I asked, what can I do to get this offer accepted? And the listing agent said, well, they're in contract on another property. If we could get the closing day to be X, that'd be great. Like, no problem, you know? So I knew they were in a tight schedule, and I knew I could squeeze out of them just a little bit more.
Mm.
So we got it. We got it for 201 and 2% closing costs. Um, and the property, we're in rehab now. We've gutted the whole thing, and we've painted, and we're going to do a brand new kitchen with granite. And I might try for 2,000 a month in rent. So it might be like significant cash flow.
Nice. Well, let's talk about why. So first off, thank you for leading by example. 240 to 201 plus 2% closing costs plus some repairs. Awesome job. Disrespectful offer. Follow up, follow through. All the things we talk about here at One Rental at a Time. On market, working with an agent, folks. It is possible. Get your mindset right. It is possible. But now let's talk about why it's possible. I believe the economy heading into the second half of 2024 is in a unique position. 59% of folks think we're in a recession, according to a news article I read this morning. We are, heading into a presidential election, which is no secret to anyone. I think this election will be as poisonous or more than any other one ever. So that's going to be distracting. I think you have a lot of consumers who have credit card debt that are just tapped out. So I think the next, I don't know, what is it, 5 months or so are going to be slow. What happens if that's true? So the economy is slow. Well, what we're going to see and have already started to see is we're going to see inventory build. And when inventory builds and demand pulls back, what happens? The good investors like Casey poke and prod and look and inquire and write up and follow up. And they find sellers who are what I call motivated sellers. They have a close date for their forever home that they don't want to miss. So you could take somebody who was at 240 and 219 and 204 and then 201 plus 2% plus repairs because they're motivated by the closing date. Folks, you need to realize that motivated sellers will be easier to find today and for the next 4 or 5 or 6 months than any time in the last decade. Get off your ass and do the freaking work. What do you think, Casey?
I am so excited for this market. I've never been in a buyer's market. I mean, I started real estate in 2007. So that's when I got my real estate license. And there's not really been a buyer's market. It's been a seller's market since then. It's been a struggle all the time. It's been over asking and appraisal gaps and all these things. So, and people are still getting good deals, but it's tough. Now is the opportunity that everybody has been waiting for. Everybody has been waiting for this time in our history right now in their lifetime to invest in real estate. And I know it sounds like a broken record and a used car salesman to say, now's the best time to buy. But it really is the best time to buy, in my opinion. It really is. We have an election coming up. People are distracted. Nobody knows where the economy is headed. And, people just want to know who's getting elected, no matter who it is, so they can plan their investing strategy accordingly, is the bottom line, right? There's going to be good and bad things that happen with both people, whoever becomes president. But I'd like to know what direction is the economy going in so I can plan accordingly, right? So people are on the sidelines waiting. So that's even more buyers that are not buying. And we just had this little rate dip, and it's gone down, slowly over the past few weeks since I bought my dang house, right? It's gone down, but people are refinancing. I've gotten more and more inquiries about people looking to buy their first property because they're seeing a little upside with rates going down. They're hearing that people are on the sidelines, and now maybe it's the time to get in. I think that there are more people on the sidelines, more people waiting for the election to be over, more people in flux with their job, right? I don't care what's going on. I got a friend on the street who's been looking for a job for 4 months. She is a high paid professional and she's not able to find a quality job. She makes like $250 a year and she can't find a job after she was laid off. So there's a lot of people that are not moving up, that are not buying cars, that are being careful with their money because whether we're in a recession or not, 59% of people feel that we're in a recession. It's more about what we feel and how we behave as consumers than it is what the numbers and statistics say. It feels like we're in a recession. People will act like they're in a recession. People will not buy. So when people are holding back, that's when money is made. That's when you get in. When people pull out of the stock market, that's when you go buy shares. It's always when it's the scariest that it's the best time to buy.
I've been doing this for 23 years now. Buyers markets are rare and they're typically short. And again, it takes a combination of demand being pulled and supply building. And there are just life events. In your example, it was a close date on a forever home. Sometimes it's death, sometimes it's divorce, sometimes it's job transfer. So whatever. Sometimes you have twins. You have to move. And trust me when I say the best deals you will ever get are from motivated sellers. They are out there. They are always out there. But in a seller's market, they can hide. In a buyer's market, they can't. It's your job to get a buy box, to build your network, to write lots of offers, to follow up so that you can get great deals. You got a 240 house in a great area for 201. You've got over $4,000 in closing cost credit. You had them do some repairs that you would normally have to do. You almost got the 1% rule, right? If you get
I know.
$2,000 on it, it's crazy.
I know. I would have never thought it. And the thing too is, Michael, most people would have seen that listing and they did see it and say it's overpriced.
It was on the
You know,
MLS. That's exactly the point. It's
yeah.
on the MLS. It's overpriced. Write a
Yep.
disrespectful offer.
Write the offer. A lot of people will say, oh, it's not going to cash flow. I'm not going to write the offer. I'll wait for it to come down. Why would you wait for it to come down? I mean, granted, I saw it right after they had they did the price decrease. I'm like, okay, now let's go, because it was a hefty price decrease. And when things are listed, it's, chances are slim if they just list it and you give them a
Oh,
disrespectful
yeah.
offer that they're going to take it. Like, no, and they shouldn't. And the listing agent should not be advising them to take your low offer if it's a new listing. So give
Yeah.
it a little bit of time, before you go in with a low offer, but keep an eye on it. Just because it looks overpriced doesn't mean to just swipe left and go to the next one. Put it on your list and watch it. Wait till, 10 days, 14 days goes by. As a former real estate agent, I was harping on my sellers every 4 weeks for a price reduction. If we didn't
Yeah.
see activity in 2 weeks, we were having the conversation, hey, let's give it maybe a little bit more time, but we need a price reduction. So every 4 weeks, expect the listing agent to be having the conversation with their seller about a price reduction. And if it's been, at least a month already, if you can get your offer in before the price reduction hits the MLS as a new lower price, you're going to thank yourself, because there's going to be less competition if you're the only offer,
Yeah.
and even if you already offered, go back and say, my offer still stands. I'm still available. I'm still
Yeah.
here. My offer still, even if they said no the first time, you never know.
Yeah.
They could just
So
say no, worst case scenario.
no, absolutely. And again, the whole part of this is motivated sellers, like, they don't raise their hand. They're like, hey, look at me. But you got to take your shots. You got to follow up. Lots of people will write offers on stuff. The seller will say, no, I want my price or not. Great. They're not motivated. Go find someone else. So let's talk about the consumer. We are in both agreement that the next 6 months are going to be slower because of life, right? It's just where we are. But guess what? In about 5 months, that will be behind us. We will have a different president in 5 months. It will just be different. That's where we are. It'll be a him or her. Doesn't matter. But guess what? I've studied the consumer for 30 years. And here's a little insight for you. In my opinion, the average consumer can contract, pull back, conserve for only about 6 months. At the end of 6 months, they just have this like, I deserve this. I need to treat this. I need to do that. So this buyer's market will undoubtedly, in my opinion, go till middle of January, middle of February. But at that point, the spring selling season will kick off and they will be anew. The election will be behind us, all of that. Second, I don't think there's anyone out there saying that rates aren't going lower, right? Whether or not we have a recession or not, rates are going lower, either because we got a soft landing or a hard landing. Rates are going lower. You can argue how fast and how much, fine, but they're going lower. Just put 2 and 2 together. We get to next spring selling season, which is March 1st, February 15th. Rates are a little to a lot lower. Unemployment is somewhere between 4 and 5.5%, which said another way means it's at 96 to 94.5% employed. I mean, just to change that up on you. We're still below full employment, which when I was studying was 6%. I think today it's 5%. Right? Even if the economy is in a recession, there's plenty of people that have been on the side because of this or that reason. And we already saw what happened over last week, Friday, Monday, rates dropped. I had phone calls from agents going, oh my God, my phone's blowing up. What's happened? I'm like, dude, rates fell 50 basis points. Of course it's up. That's called marginal demand. So again, we have an economy that's in a rough shape. We have a buyer's market for 6 months. We have a consumer that's not going to do anything, but that doesn't last long. We have lower rates in our future. So guess what that means? The opportunity to do the work is now. It's now to do what Casey did. Find a listing, days on market below above normal, already had a price cut, probably motivated for some reason. Write the offers, right?
Now's the time. And just think, if you don't do it now because you're scared of the election or who's gonna be president, you're gonna wait for rates to drop a little bit more. I get that. Well, I'm gonna wait for rates to drop a little bit more. Come next springtime, it's all over. People have been waiting. The
Yeah.
economy is no longer in flux. We know where the direction of where our country is going. It's springtime. It's already historically the best time to list your house and buy in the spring. There's more inventory will go back up. We may be back into the seller's market.
Oh, it will.
And
Buyers markets don't last long. They don't
yeah,
last long.
unfortunately. So this is really the good time. Not only is this is a great time, we're also going to be entering winter, which is just again historically a slow time. So we're going to have,
Yeah.
motivated sellers, the economy, the election, prices going down, and winter time. It really doesn't get better than this for deals because
Absolutely.
if you wait until the spring, we're going to be getting right back into multiple offers, and prices will be going back up.
Yep. Love it, Casey. At the end of the day, also something special for you folks out there. If you are part of my school community, Casey's going to be doing 2 1-hour sessions where you get to ask her questions. She'll share what's going on in her world. She'll talk about her deals, her start, how to find down payment money, whatever you want to ask. Casey will be there for you a couple of times over the next couple of weeks because I will be going to an undisclosed location. More on that later. Casey, where can people find you?
People can find me every day on YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth, as well as Instagram, Brick by Brick Wealth.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.